Hey guys, it's Rod with Civil Advantage Firearms Training here, and today we're going to talk about what the best camo is. I don't know anything about camo other than what's going to make me look muscular.
Tactical.
Yeah.
Tactical.
And I haven't found one that works for me yet. But anyway, so I brought in an expert, which is my old buddy Miguel from Valley Combat and Tactical. And Miguel's got a variety of different experience, and he definitely knows these patterns, and you'll find out why. So tell us a little bit about the store and stuff.
Well, thanks for having me, first of all. The store is called Valley Combat and Tactical. We are located in Abbotsford, British Columbia. We have been there for just about the end of 7 years, going on 8 years, April 1st. Goofy day to start.
Cool.
Yeah, it's the old joke. Yeah, we've done everything. We started off as paintball and airsoft. We evolved into home protection, self-protection, some knives and whatnot. Then we got into duty gear, law enforcement stuff, camouflage, cadets, a little bit of everything. Weekend warrior outfitter, mall ninjas, good stuff. And then over the course of the last year, we've moved into firearms and ammunition as well. So we're always growing. We believe if we sit still, clowns will eat us. Must keep moving. So we're always changing things up. It's funny, we get people coming in once a week to see what's new, right? They're like, oh, you moved everything and this is gone, and well, that's new. And it happens all the time. Can't keep everyone updated, so we like people to come in. BDUs and ACUs, uniforms, camouflage. The first thing I like to straighten out, everyone calls this thing here ACU. This is not ACU. This is a pattern called universal. It's called ACU because the pattern cut that the U.S. Army started was an ACU uniform, which means an all-combat uniform. A BDU is a basic duty uniform, which is a 4-pocket jacket, and the ACU is a new design meant to use, oops, my mic, windstorm, it's pretty nasty out there, a 2-pocket design meant to use battle gear, chest rigs, and whatnot. That's the first thing I like to do.
And Mandarin collar, right?
And a Mandarin collar, yeah. And a standard collar, exactly. And these are quite often a zipper. These are usually a button.
Good to keep the cartridge casings out of your...
It can help. Yes. And if it's really cold and windy, you can zip it up. And there's companies that make with little crystals in here to center your chi. There's some amazing stuff out there. I'm not even joking. I've got one here. I'll show you later.
Maybe that's my problem. I need some crystals.
I'll tell you what. I've had some rough days out there where I felt a little better, I thought, because of those placebos.
Power of the mind.
That's it, exactly. Camouflage history, briefly. ODs, olive drab. It's a classic. Everyone likes it. It was comfortable, but there's no disruption. Any solid pattern that you put in the woods, as soon as it moves, you see it. It's, even if you're not moving, a big solid color of anything, you see it. Olive drab, it's a classic, but it's really not that effective. Canada and the US both use that. Canada went to CAD-PAT very quickly, or not very quickly, but immediately. They developed the first digital pattern that everyone else eventually copied. This is your CAD-PAT. They did 2 different uniforms. Obviously, this is not effective in the desert. It's quite green, as you can see next to your fantastic desert there. Little different. That one there is Marpat Desert or Marpat Arid. There's CAD-PAT Temperate Woodland and CAD-PAT Arid, which is very, very similar. This pattern, similar to those colors. That's what we're using right now. The US went from the ODs to good old G.I. Joe, the Woodland. And it was very, very, it's such a cool, classic looking pattern. So cool, musicians put it on guitars. It's unfortunately though dated. It's about 70 years old now. It's better than nothing, having this for sure, but it's just had its time.
So do you think it still works, or is it?
It works better than solid black or solid green.
Okay.
But if I had to choose from everything here, it's near the bottom of the list if I had to pick it.
Okay.
But it's still a cool pattern. It's such a classic, right? Then the US Army went, you know, those Canadians and their big brains, this digital is very cool. And digital was designed to disguise movement at distance. So, you know, if you've ever seen any footage of like even the salt flats, when they're long flat areas, that wavy distance that you get, the digital was designed specifically so that when you're in that kind of area, you can move, and this will kind of disguise it. And that was the idea of it. So the US Army went, this is brilliant, but green, tan, 2 different uniforms, we could just do that in one. They put this really mediocre green and really awkward shade of tan that's kind of a pink hue, and they did this so it would work in both the green and the desert.
It didn't really work.
It worked horribly. It works really good in the occasional rock quarry and on some really ugly old couches. My wife really likes those couches. There's some good pictures. Hopefully you show that picture.
Yep. It's showing right now.
Awesome.
Yeah. Okay.
I love the interweb.
Okay.
So they did this, and it was a bit of a mistake. It cost them a lot of money, so they went with it for a long time. The Marines went, "You guys are idiots. This is a good idea, but it's really only useful maybe a month and a half, at least around here." And they came up with Marpat Woodland, which is really, really fantastic when you think about the color scheme of nature in the wilderness. This green, the ground is not that often green. It's usually brown. Tree bark is brown. Where we're standing is usually a good array of brown, and this covers mostly brown and green. So in our environment, yeah, even in the middle of summer when this is useful, you can still hit the dirt or stand next to a tree, and this is going to work really well. They also developed what you're wearing there, which is the Marpat Arid or Marpat Desert. Really, really, really effective. Really cool. U.S. Army going, wow, this was a good idea. This, not so much. They realized that they needed to do something, and Multicam came out 4 or 5 years ago, I'd say now, and it was developed by Caleb Cry, a New York art student, and it was designed to work in any environment. If you look at it closely, you can see the backgrounds. There's no solid colors, where these are all solid colors just next to each other. The background is light green and dark brown, and it fades to light brown, and there's no real solid colors other than the small blotches. The idea is that if you surround this with green, your eye will see mostly green. If you surround it with tan, your eye will go to the tan. So it's kind of an optical illusion, but it really, really works really well. If you have no choice, you don't know where you're going, you don't know what you're going to be doing, and you only have one choice, it's a pretty good choice. So the U.S. Army has actually picked this up as their deployment uniform. They still spent so much money on this. I believe they're using it as a dress uniform, so guys will still be wearing this, but if they're actually going out fighting, they're wearing this. And almost everything on Earth in tactical world is available in Multicam now. In the last couple of years, there's been some new developments. There's a company called Kryptek. I don't have any of their stuff. ATAX is fantastic. They developed ATAX, and they originally came out with a tan kind of urban design, a little bit lighter, kind of more that hue that you're wearing. And then this is the FG, which is their kind of woodland one. And I can tell you, running a paintball field, I've used 99% of these. I've probably used all of them, or at least seen all of them on the field. And man, this thing up close, personal, within 100 yards, if you're not moving, they're not seeing you. It's awesome. That's the one I've been running right now.
So that's the one you're happiest with?
Recently, yeah. But
Interesting.
Multicam just released at SHOT, or just before SHOT, that they are coming out with 4 different colors of this now. So the original Multicam idea was one uniform fits all. Now they've gone, you know what? This design works really well. They're doing it in a tan, like an Arid. They're doing it in a darker green, kind of cadpat hues called Tropical. And they're doing it one they call Black, which is like an urban. And then they've got a Winter Snow. I don't remember the name for it, but
I think Winter Snow is a pretty.
I think it was pretty good too.
Pretty name.
Maybe I should let Caleb know.
Snow's
Winter
breath.
Snow.
Something like that. Awesome. So
Yeah.
this is the clear winner, though.
For me, up close and personal. If you got to be up close, this is my first choice. But that being said, I'm a weirdo. I do not wear head-to-toe full matching gear. I wear quite often cadpat Arid pants because they're the most comfortable. The material's a little nicer. I like to be comfortable. And then the darker green on top. I like to mix them up. If I'm on the field, I believe that if you're in a full color, when you see a full color of anything, it really stands out. That's the thing. If you look at the wilderness and nature, it's always changing. That's the idea of disruption. That's why camouflage is different colors. So I wear lighter color pants usually and a darker color top almost all the time. If I'm going to wear a cadpat top, then maybe I'll wear a Multicam pant. If I'm going to wear cadpat Arid pants, then maybe I'll wear an ATAX top. I mix and match.
And that breaks up the human form anyway from top
Exactly.
to bottom too, right?
There's a lot of human form here.
Yeah.
I got to break it up.
I got a little human form myself.
Yeah.
But so from the zombie apocalypse perspective, so I'm making an investment. I got it in the gun room or whatever, or in my bunker.
Your matching bag.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so what I've chosen, personally, is I made a big investment in Woodland Digital, which is actually called
Marpat Woodland.
Marpat Woodland.
Yeah.
And so I've got several pairs of pants in this. I got a jacket. I got backpacks. I got a vest or a cheaper vest, not a plate carrier, nothing.
Stuff.
All in
stuff.
this pattern because this works really good in our climate, in our environment.
Awesome in our environment. I mean, if you only could choose one
For southwestern British Columbia.
For our area, absolutely. It's even in the middle of summer, like I said, the trees may be super green, but the bark is brown, the ground is brown. You never go wrong with that. Mm-hmm. I just like the digital, like I said, designed for disguising movement, zombie apocalypse, great idea.
Yeah. And then you'd go with the proper ATACs.
Love it.
And do you think that would work all year round, or have you if it works?
I've used it. I mean, it depends on. It's a light. It's not green. It's not so green like CAD-PAT. That even in the spring and the fall when it gets a little lighter, I mean, it can work. It does work. There's so much black in this, it darkens it up a little bit. It really depends on where you are. I mean, zombie apocalypse, are you running? Are you hiding? Are you in the bush? Are you ransacking buildings? I don't know what your plan
all of the above.
I don't know what your plan is. Mine's a little different.
Everyone's zombie apocalypse plan is a little different, but
you got it.
Anyway, at least we've discussed all these different patterns. You learn a little bit about the history and what Miguel's using, and I reverted to Miguel because in paintball you're spending all day long trying to hide from people or trying to sneak up to people. So that's actually a really good experience when it comes to camouflage. So.
And it's close.
Yeah,
it's very close quarter. It's not like you're off in battle shooting a kilometer away at each other. This is the furthest that you're usually looking at somebody is 100 yards, if that.
If you're even looking at them, yeah. Well, interesting enough, quick story. I was at Miguel's field for the Black Hawk Down scenario.
Yes, you were.
This past year. And, it was a very interesting experience because I hadn't played paintball in a long time. And I remember I was looking at some guys sneaking up because we were protecting an area. And I didn't take the shot because there was a bunch of leaves in the way. I knew the ball would never break. So that's something that it wouldn't cross your mind with a real firearm. But nonetheless, the camouflage at that distance is all really important. So anyway, there's a couple of choices. Anyway, I appreciate you coming out, doing the video.
Thanks for having me.
Right on. You can check out Miguel's YouTube page, and it's called?
youtube.com/valleycombat.
And website?
valleycombat.com.
Fantastic. And you can follow us on Twitter at CivilAdvantage1, or you can find us on the web at www.civiladvantage.com. Thanks, and we'll see you next time.
Thanks.